So today, ladies and gentlemen, I had to go out and get two of the heavy hitters from the Washington Commanders content creation, I guess, community group or whatever to discuss this Washington Commanders 2025 schedule. In the middle, I got my guy Rico from Street Scores. And to his right, I got my guy Ed Oliver as we're going to go over this tough 2025 Washington Commanders schedule and all things Commanders. Let's get to it.
The way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's long.
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders live stream. And in today's live stream, I got my guy, Rico from Street Sports and Oliver stopping by tonight. How we doing, fellas? It's been a little minute.
Yes, sir. Just excited. Can't wait, man. I can't wait for it to get into this season, man.
Hey, what's up with you? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Loving this. We got 8 standalone games, 8 primetime games, standalone games, whatever you want to call them, man. We're going to be on TV all season, man. All season.
Yes,
no
sir.
More 1 p.m. games.
Nah, definitely. And again, as always, appreciate y'all for coming on. And me and Rico was just talking about it. It's something that we knew was going to happen, but the fact that it happened like this, like they wasted no time. This is how you know they've been fiending for like the DC area team to be good because they put us on primetime 8 times this year. And I'm going to start with you on this one. Your initial reaction to it and how you feel about it a week later. Me personally, like me and Rico was just talking about it, it's a little bittersweet. Like, I love that we're on prime time, but I also love getting our games out the way early. But how you feeling about it, man, knowing that, on Sundays now you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see the fellas play?
Oh, I love it with a passion, man. If you have kids, man, you love it. You get to go outside, enjoy some of the warm weather before it gets cold, about October, November type. The sun goes down early, so it's like you want to get outside, enjoy the weather. You can go to church now, man. You don't have to rush. You don't have to rush and get home from church now. If you want to cook at home, like, of course, people tailgate and cook at home, of course, too. But, like, if you want to just take your time, put something on the grill, just enjoy yourself before a 4 o'clock start, 8 o'clock start. You got a lot more time to do stuff. You can go to the grocery store on a Sunday and meal prep and get ready for the week. Like, every week it was a 1 o'clock game. 1 o'clock every week. So you had to base that time around 1 p.m. basically for us because we're content creators. So it's not just 1 to 4. For us, it's from 12 to 5. Or 12 to 6 sometimes. You just never know. Like, streams can go crazy, so you just never know. So it's a lot of time that we really put into this. And it's going to be even more time. So there's pros and cons to it. Like, the nighttime, like, I know both of you guys live stream the whole games and stuff. So y'all going to do a lot of streams at 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. So I don't know if you guys have to go to work the next Monday or if you guys do this full time or whatever it may be for you guys. So I understand there's a lot of pros and cons. So if you got to go to work on Monday and you're streaming from, like I said, your streams don't start at 8:30 when the game starts. You're starting your stream at 7:30, and then your stream's going to probably end around midnight, especially if we win, it's going to be lit. So everybody knows we put a lot of time to this, so there's pros and cons. But like I said, I'd rather have the late start than a 1 p.m. every single day. So that's just my thoughts. You get to get stuff out the way during the day rather than having to do something before 1 o'clock or before noon, or wait until 5 o'clock at night to get stuff done. So that's just my thoughts on it. But I'm thankful for it, guys. I think it's going to boost our channels a lot because we're going to be on prime time. Like I said, the streams that you guys are going to be doing during the games are going to be even more lit because it's a prime time stream. So that's what I like about it for the most, for sure.
That's before we go, before I let you go, I'm gonna jump in, and you could also add on to what Ed said. That's actually a really good point about the primetime games, the late games. I could always just remember the periodically like late games we've had. They've always like been pretty cool. For both reasons. Like even when we lost to the Bears, like that time we got embarrassed to the Bears, like a lot of the people that watched the channel were pissed off. They were coming in hot. And then when we lost to the Eagles last year, as expected, Eagles fans trolling and all that stuff like that. And those was like later games, like later in the day games. And yeah, I mean, look, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, Ed. Even if we kind of have something else to go Monday morning to do, if we win it, I'm gonna have to deal with it because it's gonna be lit regardless of what time it is. But Rico, how you feeling about that, man? About the prime time starts and also piggyback over what Ed said.
Yeah, I'm definitely a 1 p.m. guy. Like, so I can, maybe I can have time for a little bit of a nap before we even start going into the, because I like watching the other games too. And the 1 p.m. games make me wake up a little earlier. But if we're not playing at 1 p.m., I may not wake up till like 2 p.m. and stuff like that. So, for very selfish reasons, I prefer the 1 p.m. game, especially like Christmas, because it's no way. I can't even figure out how I may even try to stream on that Christmas game. Because I'm definitely gonna be with family, and I'm usually like sleep 1 p.m. after eating. So it's a whole bunch of factors to it. Even watching the game is gonna be tough. But I'm gonna definitely at least watch it. But at the same time, man, I'm definitely grateful for everything, man, to be this marketable, for everybody to want to see you and everything like that, to finally have the franchise quarterback, the elite quarterback that everybody wants to watch. I mean, you could just see from the fact that we have more standalone games from the team that just dominated the NFL last year, in the Eagles, and won the Super Bowl in dominant fashion. Like everybody wants to see Jayden Daniels, and I'm really appreciative of that. First of all, because that's going to mean more views on our players, so more Pro Bowls. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be recognized more. They're gonna be more household names across all fan bases, not even just ours. Which also will potentially get these guys better chances of making it to the Hall of Fame, because guys like London Fletcher, I mean, he even won a Super Bowl before he went to the Redskins, and he's still not in the Hall of Fame right now. His stats are very comparable to Ray Lewis, but it's just because he was on the Redskins that nobody cared about. And then the one great season we had, remember, I think we started like 2-6 the RG3 season, so people didn't even care then. It wasn't until the very end that people really started to tune in and be like, wait, who is this? People outside of our fan base were like, who is this London Fletcher guy that's really like putting this defense on his back and being like a leader of the team? And, that was somewhat short-lived as well. So I just feel like Jayden Daniels is going to bring a lot of spotlight to a lot of the players that deserve more recognition. So that's going to help Terry McLaurin make more Pro Bowls, make it to the Hall of Fame, and guys like that. So I'm really excited about that. The exposure, again, I mean, the bragging rights of we're that team that everybody wants to watch and everything like that. We got more primetime games than Falcons. We got more primetime games from the Hayden Eagles, from the Hayden Lions and Bears fans. So, it's just going to be fun. Madden commercial, it has our head coach narrating it, and it's like they're protagonist being drafted to the Commanders. Like, so it's beautiful, man. It feels like we're taking over. And I mean, it's only the start. It's only the second year.
Yeah, no, that definitely is a good point. And I also want to say, like, I think this is the NFL's trial run too, because we announced the new stadium. So they're like, okay, let's force feed this DC area a lot of popular events to see how they will react, so we can know when we build this new stadium if it's worth hosting a Super Bowl, if it's worth doing a lot of other events, which I'm already going to tell them. They don't even have to like wait to the draft or wait to this season to see, like, yes, you've seen the sleeping giant that this fan base is. So once 2027 gets here and the NFL draft is in in Washington D.C. and the surrounding areas, everyone's just gonna flood to it, man. So I definitely think not only the success of the on-field play, but just the success of how this team has carried themselves off the fields, and then obviously so many popular names that's tied to the franchise, and Magic Johnson and so many other great people. They're like, man, we've been waiting to do this. They've been waiting to make the Washington Commanders or Skins or football team like one of the most marketable teams, but they just couldn't because the ownership was trash, and then the on-field play didn't make it any better. Because I feel like it's easy to cover up bad ownership if your team is good, but if your team is bad and then you got ownership scandals throughout the out the world, it's like, man, it's insane. But
and the ownership was the reason we were bad. Forcing the Haskins pick, we just learned about forcing the Crowder pick over Stephon Diggs, so that didn't help much either.
That's a good point. You can actually jump in on that, Rico, if you want to. I saw it and I was like, should I talk about it? But every time I talk about like old stuff. People in the comments be like, "Why are we bringing this up? He's no longer here." You
Yeah,
know
they
what I'm
do say
saying? But
that
like,
a lot.
part of me wanted to do it because I'm a big Stephon Diggs fan. Obviously, he's a Merlin guy, so it's like I would have loved to have him, but I didn't even think he was on our radar. But to know like Scott McCloughan said, yeah, let's go with him, and Dan Snyder just like said no. It just goes to show you how many more guys did he do that for. We already know about Dwayne Haskins. Now we know about Stephon Diggs. How many other guys did he step in and overrule from this team potentially being good, Rico?
I mean, it's insane. I mean, that is crazy. Scott McCloughan, I think he was on the Kevin Sheehan podcast, right? And originally he was like, I have a story that I want to tell, but I'm not going to go there. And then just later on, he was like, you know what? I'm going to let it rip. And then he just explained how Stephon Diggs was the highest on his board, but then he ended up having to choose Jamison Crowder. Shouts out to Jamison Crowder. Thank you for the career and everything. He did a good job. And you know, now we potentially have our Jamison Crowder replacement in Jaylen Lane, who I think is going to be faster, quicker, and overall better at both returner and wide receiver. But I mean, the fact that Stephon Diggs, a local guy too, I mean, so many different ways, it just made sense. It just, and then you saw how his career took off and how I mean, again, shouts out to Jamison Crowder, but Stephon Diggs ended up being the better player. And the fact that Dan Snyder stepped in and was like, no, like we're not doing this. And I think Scott basically alluded to the fact that like it was like some off the field concerns. It was like the injury concerns as well. And they just felt like he just felt like, you know, I'm not a football guy, but I'm going to step in and force football decisions. And the rest is history.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you jump in on that. You know, being a fellow, you know, Merlin guy, Stephon Diggs being a Terp. How do you feel about that, man? Because I'm a little hurt about that.
The crazy thing is, and I talked about this too. Stephon Diggs, the character concerns are there. He clearly is the better receiver than Jamison Crowder for sure. But Jamison, like you said, Rico, Jamison, he's a solid receiver. Like he's had a solid career. He's actually been in the league for 10 years, which is really good. If you've been in the league for 10 years, that's a darn good career. But no, Stephon Diggs was clearly the better player. It does show that Dan Snyder, you know, him stepping in the draft room. I remember Kyle Shanahan, other people were like really pissed off about the whole Dwayne Haskins draft pick and whatnot. But yeah, no, Stephon Diggs, he does have some character concerns for sure, as we did see him at that Knicks game with Cardi B. That's not a bad thing, but he does have some questionable things going on. Him and his brother Trayvon Diggs, I've definitely heard some stories. He did go to good counsel, and I won't get too much into detail about some things that I've heard about Stephon Diggs and stuff like that. But maybe off air we'll talk about it. But no, I mean it does. That is malpractice. You always want to go with the better player, in my opinion, because the thing with Stephon, he hasn't gotten any legal troubles, and he definitely would have been a better receiver. Like if you think about the team that we had at the time with Kirk Cousins, you had Pierre Garçon, you had Deshaun Jackson, and let's throw in Stephon Diggs and Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis. Like that offense would have went crazy. Like because you had two 1,000 yard receivers. Stephon Diggs potentially would have been another 1,000 yard receiver. So that's some crazy stuff right there. But no, Stephon Diggs, does he cry for the football a lot? That's true. He does. Does he get involved with a lot of women and whatnot from what I've heard and what we've seen with Cardi B and some other lady rappers and stuff like that? That is true. So I don't know what was said at that time about him coming out of Maryland, but Scott McCloughan, you know, you definitely should have went there with Stephon Diggs. But yeah, I mean, there's so many other things you can say about Dan Snyder with him meddling with the team. So it's just another thing that we can add to the list for Dan Snyder malpractice.
And I mean,
like has the owner said, Diggs would have kirked on he would have kirked on Kirk Cousins a little bit earlier than what he did in his career, but he still would have got the ball a lot. He probably would have had 1,000-yard receiving season with us again.
And how is the owner with the worst character concerns worried about getting a receiver with a little bit of character concerns? But maybe he just didn't want the block to be hot. Like people focused on Stephon Diggs off the field, and then they'd be like, wait a minute, what's going on with this owner off the field as well? So maybe he was just trying to clear all of that to make, you know, the surface look good. So we didn't get the chance to see behind the behind the scenes and everything on him. That's the only way I can assume.
Man, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm going to go ahead and just take a guess at it. Dan Snyder did this because he just wants to be right. He's like Jerry Jones, but just a very bad version. Like, he wants all the credit for good things, but then when bad things happen, such as bad draft picks, he wants to say, oh, it was Scott McCloughan, oh, it was Bruce Allen. This. He wanted to take certain stab at certain picks and overrule his actual football guys for doing their job because he wanted all the credit for the potential success. That's just my thinking about it. But nah, Ed, you definitely made a good point. Like, just thinking about how good that offense would have been. Like, when we had the 2017 number 2 passing offense, like Stephon Diggs' 2014 draft class, so that would have been insane offense. And then obviously, but Chris Thompson was still around too. Like, as the third down back, like, man, that offense would have been insane. Now, we probably would have won some games 44-40 because the defense would have been on some 2025 Bengals ish. But we would have been chilling, man. That definitely would have been a fun offense to talk about. And that just brought up the other point about the rest of the wide receivers in the NFC East. We'll talk a little bit about that later if we have time. But getting back to this schedule, Ed, I'll go back to you. It's been about a week now since we've got to digest this schedule. Anything changed for you from your initial thoughts or reactions of looking at this schedule to now? Because, man, to me, my initial reaction, and I still feel the same way, it's a tough schedule. But that being said, like I told Rico off air before we started, I wouldn't want it any kind of way. I don't want no cupcake schedule. This is exactly what I would want from a team that's out to still prove this.
Yeah, so it is a tough schedule. The NFC East has the toughest schedule out of all the divisions. The Giants have the toughest schedule, I believe. It's between the Giants and Eagles. I know it's not talking about us, but looking at the Giants schedule, they could easily start off 1-4, 1-3. That's just how that's how tough the schedule is.
Yeah, I think opponent winning percentage, the Giants have the toughest schedule in the last 5 years. I think I saw somewhere.
Yeah. No, seriously. It really is tough. I think the NFL, I'm not going to say they screwed them over, but they didn't do them any favors to start the season off. Like, they started them off on the road against us, and then I think they got to play the Cowboys. They always get dusted by the Cowboys on national TV or that 425 game, so they're going to start off at least like 0-2, 0-3. But our schedule, I'll say I do like the start of it. I think we got the easiest game out of all the games you could get because we didn't get an AFC West opponent. You didn't start, even though we played the Packers the second week of the season, you didn't start off at Green Bay. You get a home game against the Giants, who's easily being realistic, the Giants are probably the worst team on our schedule. And they're actually they're bad, but they're actually they clearly are better than what they were. Like, they have pieces, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, say what you want about Thibodeau. He's very inconsistent. He's still good. And Brian Burns, he's still really good. They have a legitimate defense. But like you keep saying, Juan, it's a very tough schedule, man. Like, you got the Chiefs, the whole AFC West. But I love the Christmas Day game. I love the Saturday game against Philly. I do kind of dislike that we're waiting so long to play against Philly, especially since now we have a rivalry against Philly. You look at social media, every day there's an Eagles fan tweeting out the last score of the game where there's an Eagles fan. Like, we could be talking about our own team. It doesn't matter. And an Eagles fan will come on to Twitter and comment like 55-23. It doesn't matter. Like, and the same thing with the Bears. The Bears fans give us that same energy. Like, we beat the Bears and they're still trying to come at us on Twitter. So, like, we have some legitimate rivalries this season. So that's why we have so many primetime games, because we have beef with a lot of teams. Like, the Lions game is a 425 America's Game of the Week game. They've already announced that's America's Game of the Week. They made graphics for it and everything with our players. And it's Jaden and Terry versus Golf and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, but what I will say, of course, we got another late bye, week 12. That's as expected. I believe they asked teams, like, after the Spain game, like, when you have an international game, they ask you whether you want the bye or not. So I think we had to have it at that time. I don't know the rule book 100% about the schedule, but it made sense to take that bye. We didn't get a Thanksgiving game, which is fine with me. I knew we were going to get at least one of the holiday games, so we got that. But the NFC East gauntlet at the end of the year, you play at New York, then you play Philly again week 16. You play Philly for the first time week 16, then you play Dallas at home on Christmas, and then week 18 you go to Philly, which is a TBD, which most likely will be another national TV game or a 425 game. So we could have before it's all said and done, we could have 9 standalone games and then another primetime game. So that would be 6 if they flex the Philly game to, say, like 825 or whatever. So yeah, no, I like the schedule, man. Like I said, we're going to be battle tested. Clearly, Kansas City's Monday Night Football or Sunday night. That's Monday night. Bo Nix, Broncos. Looking at the schedule right now, that's Monday night. I'm looking at that's Sunday night actually, and that's a home game. And then a lot of the national TV games are home games too. Like a lot of the standalone games are home games too, which gives us an advantage as well against the Bears as a home game as well. So yes, it's a tough schedule, but in order to be the best, you got to beat the best and prove the doubters wrong. And so I like the schedule a lot. And this is a good test for us for sure. So but I'm looking forward to a good amount of rematches like that Bears game and that Lions game, shutting a lot of teams up, man. So yeah, I think it's a good schedule. But I think what I will say about the first 4 games, they're clearly going to set the tone for the season. Obviously, I think there's a good chance where we can either go 4-0 or 3-1. And I think they did give us a favor with the first couple of games of the season. I know I'm going for a long time, but they're having us wait for the Eagles. They're having us wait for the Cowboys. They're having us wait for the Chiefs until, week 7, week 8. So I think you really got to get off to a quick start because out of these good teams, we're playing the lesser of the good teams. Like the Raiders, even though they're a good team in my opinion, they're one of the worst teams on the schedule. The Giants are one of the worst teams. The Falcons are a good team in my opinion too, but they're one of the worst teams on the schedule. So I think you really got to start out 4-1 or 3-1 in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, nah, you good. You was preaching, man. I was definitely rocking with anything you had said. But Rico, you can go ahead and pick up where Ed left off. Your initial thoughts to the schedule, and then like a week later after analyzing it, man, how are we feeling about it overall?
Yeah, man. Like, Ed brought up a lot of great points, and even to add to it, like especially like the bye week thing, I'm actually really happy that it's as late as it is. Because if we're looking at the fact that we're planning on playing deep into the postseason, that's almost kind of midway. Like we have 11 games, then it's bye week, and then of course it's after the Madrid game, so we probably chose to have that bye week at that time. And then if you're thinking about the playoffs included, if we're going back to the NFC Championship game, that's 9 more games after that, maybe 10 if we go to the Super Bowl. So I feel like that's probably like as convenient of a bye week you can get as a playoff contender, as a strong playoff contender that plans on playing a lot of football in January and potentially February. And then I just love the quarterback gauntlet that we're gonna go against, man, because this is that run of Jayden Daniels is better than this guy. Jayden Daniels is better than this guy. Like there's no more excuses. A lot of people are saying, rookie luck or whatever, you know what I'm saying? He's potentially sophomore slump and all of that type of stuff. A lot of quarterbacks have great rookie seasons, but do they have great careers? So this is like a great season for Jayden Daniels to shut a lot of that up. He gets to rematch Caleb Williams. He gets to rematch Michael Penix. He gets to go against J.J. McCarthy of his rookie class for the first time. He gets to go against Bo Nix, who a lot of people for some reason felt like he should have been rookie of the year. We can shut that down. He gets his rematch against Justin Herbert for the first time since he was a freshman at Arizona State. Justin Herbert was on the number 6 Oregon team, about to get drafted, was like one of the top quarterbacks of the class, and somehow Jayden Daniels on a worse team found a way to beat him. That was an insane game. So that rematch is going to be crazy. Of course, he goes against guys like Tua, Russell Wilson, or whoever's going to be the starting quarterback by the time we play the Giants the second time. Jackson Dart, more than likely. But of course, Jalen Hurts, with the comparisons of Jalen Hurts, some people feel like he's better than Jayden Daniels, even though Jalen Hurts is not the better quarterback. He's just on a better team. He finally gets to go against Dak Prescott for the first time. He's going to go against Jordan Love, who a lot of people feel like is one of those other top elite quarterbacks, at least talent-wise, ceiling-wise, one of those high-ceiling guys. And then, of course, Pat Mahomes. Like, I mean, we beat Pat Mahomes, especially if Jayden Daniels does it in style, to where he's one of the main reasons that we win the game. Like, we're up there scoring a lot of points. We're out-dueling Pat Mahomes. We outscore him. I think that could be – I'm not going to say just because Pat Mahomes has Super Bowls, Jayden Daniels does not have one yet. But, I mean, he could be fighting for face of the NFL, man. I mean, just off of the primetime games alone, the standalone games, however petty you want to be about it, like Eagles fans, we could already tell that Jayden Daniels is the face of the NFC. Pat Mahomes is the face of the AFC. And when they go against each other, it'll really be a fight for the face of the NFL. Even though, again, Pat Mahomes has the Super Bowls, they're pushing Jayden Daniels to be that guy on the NFC side. So I'm really excited about that quarterback gauntlet that we get to go against. And to your also to Ed's point too, that month of September, I think I saw somewhere that strength of schedule wise, we have the easiest September out of any team in the NFL. So we have to, at minimum, come out of that 3-1. Because to Ed's point, it doesn't get any easier after that. I mean, I believe the Raiders are a secretly tough team to play against, but that, to Ed's point, that's one of the easier opponents that you technically have on your schedule, or we can word it as least difficult. Falcons, I think they're going to be really good. As sorry as they are, and as much as I hate them, I think they're going to be competitive. And then the Giants, I mean, I think playing them week 1, that's pretty good with being able to catch them off guard, just like how the Buccaneers caught us off guard last year where we didn't have chemistry between our quarterback and our receivers and things like that. That's a great time to catch them, because maybe by the time we play them later in the season, their defense will be humming. Like to Ed's point, they have a lot of talent on that defense, so that's not a sleeper. And they played us competitively both times we played them last season, even as well as we played. So this is a really, really tough schedule. It's not as tough as the rest of the NFC East, but it's still tough. You got to go out there and take every opponent seriously. But I'm excited. This is a whole season of proving everybody wrong. Anybody's fan base has been talking crazy, we can beat them the whole way down.
Nah, that's definitely, you guys basically said it all, man. This schedule is definitely brutal. But now that's something new that I did not know. You said out of the whole NFC East or just out of the whole conference, we got the easiest September. Like, that's something I'm just
out of the whole NFL. I think I saw somewhere
okay.
out of the entire NFL, we have the easiest September opponent strength of schedule. And then after that, it gets insane to where that's why we have the 8th overall toughest schedule.
I mean, well, when you look at it now, that's on the screen. On paper, that's actually kind of that actually doesn't that actually makes sense. Like, I mean, because you think. Go ahead, Ed, what you about to say?
Green Bay game, of course, is a challenging game because it's at Green Bay. They went to the playoffs last year. But yeah, the Giants game, you gotta win that game. I think honestly, you gotta win that game by more than 7 points. The spread is 7.5. You gotta win that game by 10 points. Raiders, yeah, like you said, Rico, like the Raiders with Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, even though Jacoby Myers is really like a number 2 receiver. That is Max Crosby. Like they got guys. Like they got guys. They're not.
I wouldn't be surprised if Genty comes right out the gate balling.
Like we're gonna be the run game, the run defense. Like everybody keeps talking about the run defense. Dietrich Wise, Eddie Goldman, and Cleveland Farrell, whoever else we had. I know we had Cleveland last year, but I'm just talking about Javon Kinlaw. Like we're really gonna be tested because you're going up against Josh Jacobs, you're going up against Ashton Genty, Bijan Robinson, and then even Tyrone Tracy is a good player. Like Tyrone Tracy, he's a dog too, in my opinion. I like him. And then I know everybody hates on Cam Scatterbo, but we got it. Like all this trash people been talking about Cam Scatterbo, we got to shut down Cam Scatterbo that first game. We should be able to, but like all the trash that everybody's been talking about him, we can't let him go out there and get busy on him.
That would be embarrassing.
That's definitely a good point about and I said that immediately when I saw this schedule. I mean, I think we all said it pretty much back when we saw the teams we were playing. Like the way Saquon Barkley and Jameer Gibbs and Bijan Robinson was running us, we immediately said that like when we saw the teams, and then after seeing the upgrades that we made, as Ed just brought up, it's like they ain't wasting no time to get tested. After last year, he absolutely went crazy on us. Like even what Rico Dowdle with the Cowboys kind of had a really good game every time he played against us too. But looking at the schedule, so this was my initial thoughts. Was it that week 2 game when I first saw it? I was a little upset with it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but after watching you guys and the shout out to the Kings, I was tuned in, and I think it was Louis T that kind of made a good point about the second week of the second game versus the Packers, because I was looking at it more so from the standpoint of like, why couldn't they give us that Thursday night game like after we got a couple games under our belt where we actually would need a little bit of like 11-day off, you know what I'm saying? Because after one game and we're really 2 games, I didn't really think we would need like 11 days off because we're still pretty fresh. But after hearing you guys' show about it, it kind of makes sense in terms of why we would need, a couple of days off after, a quick start to the season. As far as the matchup though goes, I love playing Green Bay in Green Bay at that time. That's a good point as to why it's not a bad matchup, because it's still going to be pretty warm. You don't want to go into Green Bay where it's cold, loud, and they're going to run the ball, snow and all that. So, I mean, Ed, I'll go back to you quickly. Me, like I said, I was a little upset with it at first because I didn't think I would have loved to play a little bit later in terms of getting the 11 days off. But on the flip side of that, if you find a way to start 2-0 and then you get 11 days off and then or 10 days off, 10 days off, 10, 11 days off, whatever, you get to play a Vegas team that, although they did get better and have probably better coaching in terms of Pete Carroll and obviously significant better QB playing Geno Smith. If you get off to a 2-0 start, Ed, you can find your way to a pretty easy 3-0 after, having a couple days off, extra days off after hopefully beating that Green Bay team.
Oh, yeah, you got the Raiders at home. Yeah, I mean, the first 4 games to me are very winnable. I think 3 out of the 4 we are favored to win. Excuse me, those first 4 games. The Chargers game, I'm really not. I think that's a favorable matchup too. I think really the Bears game is a favorable matchup too that we should win. And you look at Dallas too. Like the first game where I'm like, oh man, it's going to be very, very tough. Where it's like, okay, we're underdog is the Chiefs game. Really, and the Green Bay game too. We're underdogs in that game, rightfully so, because it's going to be hard to go to Lambeau and win, especially in a night game. So. But yeah, no, I think it matches up in our favor. Really, those first 4, 5, 6 games. The biggest concern clearly is just the run defense, and then the Chargers too. They drafted Mario Hampton. They're a run heavy team anyway. With Harbaugh, he's going to want to run the football. But yeah, that first quarter of the season is going to be super, super, super tone setting out the gate. The Thursday night football game in the second game. Like, we all knew they wanted to give us a primetime game within the first 2 or 3 weeks. Like, we knew that was happening. A lot of people thought that we were going to open up the season on Thursday night against the Chiefs, like the first out the gate. That's what a lot of people expected to happen. But I knew we weren't going to start on Thursday night. I actually thought we were going to play the Falcons first at like 4:30 for week 1, but we got the Giants anyway. But no, to your point, man, yeah, I think some really, really favorable matchups. I think the early Thursday night football game is fine because either way they were going to put us on like Sunday night or Monday night. Like they really wanted that to happen to start off at least one of the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, great point. Rico, I'm gonna go to you quickly about that. Just getting off to a fast start in that week 2 game. Were you always like, did you love that spot for us? Like starting the season off September 7th, which I love. I mean, I played a scheduled game a little bit weird than most people. I hate whenever we have to wait till like September 10th or 11th to play the first game. Like for some reason, it's just something psychologically that I feel like helps me, like help the season comes faster, knowing that like September 4th, actual football is going to be back and the 7th is the first game. I love it that way because like it just seems like it's closer than, in past where we got to wait till like the second week of September. Well, I still have to wait till the second week of September, but I don't know. It's psychologically with me that I love when the games are September 7th and 8th. But getting on to that quick start, are you in favor of that? Do you think that's like a good thing for our team, or were you kind of hoping like that Thursday night game be a little bit later in the season?
Nah, I like it because, I mean, again, to your point that like playing Green Bay, especially in Green Bay, in warmer weather, is so advantageous for us, man. Even though Jayden Daniels showed that he can still ball out in the cold, so that's not something we have to worry about. But like you said, with Josh Jacobs and that run game in the snow, like, no thanks. So I'm happy we went ahead and got that out the way. And also I feel like we can set the tone too, because at Packers, again, we're probably not favored for that game right now. And so for us to go in Green Bay and win that game, that will probably have us like heavily favored going into the Raiders game. And then if you're 3-0 going into the Falcons game, even though it's in Atlanta, we'll probably be favored for that. And then we can go ahead and get this train rolling, because if our schedule was just only easy the first few games, people would still be questioning us. Is it a fluke? Was last year they're just going against bum teams and things like you beat the Packers in Green Bay? People know to take you seriously for the remainder of your schedule. We set the tone immediately because nobody's going to give us much credit for beating the Giants, especially if it's anything less than 10 points of a lead. Nobody's going to give us credit, but you go in Green Bay and beat the Packers, it makes a serious statement to get the season going early. Hello? We can't hear you. Hello?
Yeah,
Juan, we can't hear you.
I think you'll meet one.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to fix it right now.
Bet.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm not on mute. My internet is just that bad.
Try that tornado from the other day. That tornado was crazy.
Oh man, it's bad. I can't even see nobody. Hold on.
Yeah, we'll hold it down.
Can you see me now? Hold up.
Yeah, we can see you. Yeah. We had an earthquake down here last week.
You said y'all had a tornado?
We had an earthquake last week. It technically happened in Tennessee, but everybody felt it here too. It's like it woke a few people up that I knew.
Yeah.
We ain't never had an earthquake before. That was new.
Yeah, y'all been having snow and all kinds of crazy stuff that's never happened before.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That is wild. But yeah, I guess I'll read some of the comments. Z-Mix1 said B-Rob will be hitting that Lambo leap. I don't know if we're gonna talk about B-Rob later.
Oh, forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, some people said B-Rob was talking about Bijan Robinson when he said to the one guy who's a streamer YouTuber.
Janky Roundup.
Yeah. So it might have been a response to that. Who knows? But all I'm gonna say is that I'm rooting for B-Rob, man. I'm a big fan of his game. Even though, yes, I'm one of the people that believes we do need to upgrade. But, while he's still here, I'm still gonna root for the guy and support him or whatever. If JCM takes over that running back one role, I'm 110% fine with that happening. So but this is a big year it's a contract year for him. So I personally, I think this is gonna be his last year here. But while he's here, just coming to work, do what you got to do, stay off Twitter. Like if Twitter is really that much of a problem to you, or fans are that much to a problem with you, man, like just shut off social media, keep it moving, man. Like that's just my opinion. Like, because like I said in my video, like every time we see a player mouthing off on, but Juan, I'll let you go because you're on now. So.
Nah, you good. You good. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying, man. My internet, I don't know what's going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. This is just what I would say about players like on social media and stuff like that. Usually when we see a player mouth off on like Dante Fowler, De'Ami Brown now, like typically when we see players mouth off on social media, it typically doesn't end well in Washington. It may go well other places, but when it happens here, they typically are not here the next year. And you saw that with De'Ami, you saw that with Dante. So like I said, I'm not bashing B-Rob. I'm just saying, like, hey, he's got to show up, man. It is what it is. Like, you got to show up, man. Like, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season yet. And, Rico, I know you got the numbers and stuff like that, but I put up some numbers on him, too. Like the run block win rate from the offensive line last year, it wasn't as bad as what people say. Like, I get the offensive line was not great in the second half of the year. Like, Biotis was out. Michael Dieter had to start and whatnot. But I don't think the offensive line was as bad as people say. I do think some of that was on B-Rob and his vision. Like he's just got to be better, man. It is what it is. And that Falcons game when Jaden Daniels had that awkward fall where he fell on his leg and stuff like that, that was because of B-Rob's blocking. So like he's just got to be better, man. And you can't have Chris Rodriguez come out here and outplay you, man. It is what it is. So he just got to play better, man.
Yeah, no, I definitely. Rico, you can go ahead and jump on it. I'll jump back in. Hopefully my internet is better. I had to switch over from the computer because I don't know what's going on. Y'all were like, "Hey, you muted." I'm like, "I'm not. I don't know what's going on." But you can go ahead. You can pick. Oh, this one getting the tripping now, man. Here we go. But you can go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, man. B-Rob, man, you just gotta play well, and the whole like Twitter thing too, like. I mean, your algorithm doesn't have Commanders fans in it, I don't believe. So he like has to be like searching up his own name if he's upset about what Commanders fans are saying about him. So I feel like that's easy to avoid, man. To Ed's point, man, you just avoid that and just ball. It's time because I mean, all of our running backs are on 1-year deals. Ja'Cory right now is our only running back not on a 1-year deal right now, which is insane. So it's time for somebody to step up. We're gonna have to re-sign somebody. We're probably looking maybe towards the draft again next year, probably in free agency as well. But hopefully we bring a couple of these guys back. We'll see. But B-Rob, you got to go out there and prove why you need to be one of the guys that's brought back, or maybe even the only guy that's brought back. Now, I think Jacory, of course, we got to settle our expectations with the 7th round pick, but I think he can definitely explode onto the scene quicker than, sooner rather than later. And if we can turn B-Rob into more of like a second option, more of a short down yardage back type of guy, I think that could be really helpful for him just off of the fact that he'll last longer, because he gets off to these good starts like the first 8 weeks of the season, and then his body just starts to wear down. And I feel like a Jacory that could, be able to, have the ball in his hands a lot, very often, because he's still young. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him, especially having to miss his last year of college except for the first game. I think he'll come in and they'll probably, I wouldn't necessarily prefer to run him to the ground, but you can. And because Austin Eckler is getting up there in age as well. I think he just turned 30 or 31 or something like that. So you don't want him having the ball too often as well. So it's going to be somewhat of a mix of running back by committee, so they can keep everybody fresh. And I think Jacory finally giving some home run threat ability, I think that's going to be huge. And I know some people see it as he's going to be taking carries away from B-Rob. I more so see it as it'll keep B-Rob fresher and, more durable as the season goes on, to where he could be an impactful player going into the playoffs as well.
No, yeah, that's definitely a good point, man. I think B-Rob, it's weird because when players tend to tweet out, they do it so indirectly, so it's kind of looked at the fans as they're reaching. But it's like, come on, bro, we're not stupid, man. We know, like, you kind of get in your feelings. They drafted Jacory Krosky-Murray, and you probably hear the fans talking about how he's here to replace you and stuff like that. At the end of the day, Brian Robinson is always going to be loved here, obviously through the tragedy that he faced and everyone having his back. But in terms of on-field play, it hasn't panned out yet, and quite frankly, the writing's on the wall that it's probably over here. It's crazy how the 4 years have flown by, and I'm thankful for his time here in Washington, but he's not providing us with what we need, right? I always said it. No one's Saquon Barkley, no one's Jameer Gibbs. Those guys are once in a generation kind of talent, but the resurgence to the running back room, or position, I should say, across the league, has made other teams like Washington feel the need to have to find one of those guys, right? Whether it's Saquon Barkley, Jameer Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Ashton Genty now, like Omarion Hampton, the running back running back position is that important. So it's hard to find or kind of give a guy like Brian Robinson a leash, because you're not getting it done, and we can go out and truly find a guy that can get it done, i.e. Jacory Krosky-Murray, aka Bill. And the funny thing about him is that I really like is that no one knows about him because of the eligibility issues he faced last season. So he's kind of on like an under the radar kind of like showing. No one really expected too much out of him or know who he is. So
Oh,
he
they'll find
definitely
out
can
in the
be surprising.
preseason when he's doing
Yeah,
them third stringers bad.
You had
yeah.
that Jared Patterson preseason.
Yeah,
Hey man, hey look, that's how you grow on me, man. My man Jared Patterson. I was still upset they never let him make the roster. Yeah. But no, of course, still room for B Rob here, obviously throughout his last season here in Washington. But yeah, it's pretty much wraps with him. Unless he just has a crazy like 1,200, like 1,300 yard season, just goes absolutely insane, which I highly doubt that even happens, because like Rico brought up, it's gonna be a running back by committee, and not to mention your quarterback's obviously gonna also chip in with a lot of rushing attempt, or I say
and your
rushing yards.
receivers,
Mm-hmm.
Deebo and Jaylen Lane out of the
Yeah.
backfield.
Yeah, I could just see Jaylen Lane housing an end around like already. Like I could just picture that, like a little end around reverse flip to him, and he takes it the distance. I could see that so many times this upcoming year. And speaking of Jaylen Lane, I guess we could transition to him. Finally, some excitement to hopefully the kick return game that we kind of been lacking since what first stint. Jamison Crowder. I was going even back as far as my young days. I still remember Brandon Banks. Like I always used to love watching him return kicks and play with him on Madden too, because I'm like he was so cheesy. But talk to me, Ed, about what Jaylen Lane could provide to not even just as a receiver, but also this kick return game, something that we've been desperately needing.
Oh yeah, I mean, you even look at the RAS score. You look at all the guys that we drafted for the most part. They have crazy RAS scores. Jaylen Lane, he had what, a 41.5-inch vertical. I'm pulling up right now, but
Insane.
yeah, just crazy. Him and JCM had crazy RAS scores. So yeah, he had a 40-inch vertical leap, 40-yard dash was 4.34. He had a 9.68 RAS score, which was 112th out of 3,441 receivers from 1987 to 2025. So that's crazy to be ranked 112th out of 3,441 receivers within a span of 30 something years is just insane. So you get some speed that we needed. We need a guy that, like, even if he just even if he just forces like a pass interference, like even if that is helpful. Like that's how impactful I think his speed is going to be. Where you just tell him to go run, and that's kind of what we did with De'Ami Brown. Was like, hey, just run. Even if you force a pass interference, like just stretch the field. Make it easier for Terry. Make it easier for Deebo. Like you can't double Terry at this point because you got Deebo on one side, and you can't double Terry or Deebo because you're gonna have a secret weapon in Jaylen Lane. I honestly, like, no shade to Luke McCaffrey, but I think Jaylen Lane is probably gonna get more reps and gonna have more of a role in this offense this year. That's just kind of how I feel is what's gonna happen. And kind of like alluding to the whole, like how De'Ami Brown got in the rhythm last year, like when we start doing that no huddle, that up tempo, like let's say we convert on a fourth down, and I can just see Jaden Daniels telling Cliff, like, hey, let's hurry this up. I see something, I see a mismatch. And Jaden just launches a 60-yard or a 30-yard bomb down to Jaylen Lane for a touchdown, like the Browns game, like what happened in that game. So I can see a lot of that happening. But like you guys said, the end arounds, the reverse, the jet sweeps, like Jaylen Lane, not only did he have a receiving touchdown, he had a rushing touchdown. He had a punt return touchdown last year. And he threw for a touchdown pass last year. So there's so many ways like gadget plays. You can probably line up in a wildcat. Like just if Cliff really wants to get in his bag this year, there's so many different ways he can get in his bag. Jaylen Lane can do wildcat, all that stuff. And if he wants to do a trick play, like let's say we're blowing out the Giants in that first game, I would even throw in a trick play just to get a little fancy and just rub it in the Giants' face that first game of the season. Or even in the Spain game, I could see something like that against the Dolphins where it's a shootout and you just have a secret weapon in Jaylen Lane and he throws a touchdown pass to Terry. Like, so there's things that I could definitely see where Cliff did that in the Dallas game where De'Ami threw a pass to OZ and OZ dropped it. Like that was one of the trick plays that should have worked. But I see that working with Jaylen Lane throwing the ball to Deebo or something like that for a trick play. So there's so many ways that I feel like Jaylen Lane is going to be used. But like I said, keep an eye on that depth chart, especially like you guys brought up the preseason with Bill or JCM. Like I really feel like he's going to get some more reps than Luke McCaffrey in training camp and in the preseason for sure. Like I think he's going to be a good target for Jaden. Like Jaden loves throwing the ball down the field, and I think that's a guy that's just going to like really, really be able to stretch the field for us. So I love the pickup with Jaylen Lane. Yes, I get some of the question marks with Jalen Royals, who was picked a couple picks after him. So I get the because that was like a lot of people's argument, like, oh, we should have taken Jalen Royals, but no, I think taking Jaylen Lane, like even Pat McAfee was like, this guy should not have been there. Chris Sims said he shouldn't have been there where he was in the fourth round, even though he was projected to be around kind of that fourth, fifth round, third round range. But I think we got a really, really good player in Jaylen Lane that can stretch the field. Rookie minicamp, I heard he impressed. I know, I get it, it's rookie minicamp, but I heard he already caught a deep bomb in rookie minicamp. He's already doing a good job of punt returning so far, what he can do. So, I'm excited for Jaylen Lane for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Rico, before I let you go, I just want to tell the people in the chat, make sure you guys subscribe to all three channels. Of course, these wonderful gentlemen, you already know who they are. But if you don't, Rico from Three Scores to the left, my man Ed Oliver to the right, hold it down for years upon years. Even going back to what was the show called back in the day? Was it like Air Sports? Like they randomly just pop up for some reason because y'all subscribed, but like y'all be seeing the old clips of the like your old show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like especially like the Cowboys one when I think we beat them, like he was like we won Dallas. It still pops up in like the recommenders to this day. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the fellas. And also before we get up out of here, we're at like the 49-minute mark. If you got any questions for Rico or Ed or myself or all of us in terms of the Commanders, leave it down below in the comment section. We'll answer a couple of them. This is your time to give these guys opinion on the Commanders. All right, so back to you, Rico. We'll let you go on to the. You can talk about Jaylen Lane. Someone brought up Kane Madrano. Someone brought up Gabe Taylor. Like anything you want to even add on about the whole draft class, feel free.
Yeah, I think with Jaylen Lane, we're lucky that the quarterback play was as bad as it was. To the point that he even had a he like to Ed's point, he even had to throw for a touchdown. And so I think that's the only reason he made it to the fourth round. Because I mean, if you're just looking at stats, I think he only had like 400 and some yards receiving or something like that, and that's just because the quarterback play was so bad. That wasn't his fault. But when you're looking at the traits like Ed brought up, even to compare him to Deshaun Jackson, I'm not saying he's going to be Deshaun Jackson. I'm not saying that he's going to be better or anywhere near in the same realm, because Deshaun Jackson's nuance was insane. It wasn't just his speed, but he had a better vertical, so he's more explosive. He had better agility drills, like the 3-cone and the short shuttle, so he's more agile. And he ran a faster 40 time while like more than 20 pounds heavier than Deshaun Jackson. So when we're talking about a ball of clay that you can mold into what you exactly want to do on offense, I think this is as good as it gets. He's kind of built more like a running back than a wide receiver, especially when you're looking at the lower half, like his legs and things like that. That's why he breaks through arms tackles. This is a real 4.34 type of guy. You know, Matthew Golden ran that 4.29 or something like that. He's not that fast, actually, for real. Like, he's not. He's on tape. He's not that fast at all. Like, Jaylen Lane is clearly faster than him on tape. Jaylen Lane's 4.34 is real, but again, you can't just arm tackle him like your typical, shorter receiver, because he's built a little stocky. Again, he's built more like a running back. And again, we're lucky that Virginia Tech's quarterback play was so bad. That's the only reason he made it to the fourth round, for us to get him. I think once he's in this Cliff Kingsbury offense and is being thrown the ball to from Jaden Daniels, people are going to realize this guy should have gone way higher in the draft. And then to Ed's point, he's going to be a man of many hats. Him and Jacory, I think, will be your starting kick returners. Even if it's not week one, they will eventually grow into that. And I think Jaylen Lane is easily a starting punt returner. They didn't bring back Jamison Crowder. Right now, it's Luke McCaffrey. Olamide Zaccheaus went to the Bears. Jamison Crowder's still out there. It's literally if you're excluding Jaylen Lane, Luke McCaffrey's a starting punt returner right now. And I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons they drafted Jaylen Lane was for him to step in day one to go ahead and start there. And then also, to Ed's point, he's your deep threat. Like, this guy can do so many things for you, on top of the fact that he's going to be utilizing the backfield alongside Deebo Samuel. Outside of Terry right now, Jaylen Lane is your only deep threat. Now that Diami's gone, it's literally Terry, Jaylen Lane, and really nobody else that I expect to go down there and catch a 60-yard bomb from Jaden Daniels, which would just be such malpractice to have one of the best deep ball throwers in the entire NFL, and you only have one deep threat receiver in Terry. So I'm happy that they brought in Jaylen Lane. They can also do that as well. So I'm really excited about him. And then going back to Ed's point about Cliff Kingsbury, getting creative, you have Jaylen Lane, who can do so many different things, but Josh Connolly as well. With his tight end and running back background back from his time in high school, this guy caught a touchdown pass, and he even ran like a wildcat direct snap at goal line, and then ran like 3 people over to get a touchdown as well. So Cliff Kingsbury is probably already adding new plays that we've never seen before last year into the playbook because of just those 2 draft picks alone.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of Josh Connolly athletic background, hey Rico, you think you could do the Josh Connolly challenge?
I think I probably could. I think I could.
Nah, I tried. I can't do
Haven't tried it. Haven't tried it yet, but I think I could.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I guess they say with the new funny trend is to say the ego in me wants to say I could do it, but like realistically I can't. It's like, I don't know. It's harder than what it seems. Like looking at it, it's like, I could do that. But then when you try to do it, you actually realize this man is a freak of nature. Because how can you be that big and that quick
Like
on your feet? Like,
320
yeah,
pounds is crazy.
man, it's insane, bro. Speaking of, back to Jaylen Lane quickly, and the deep ball threat. Or we can actually ask this, if you got the answer, Rico. Andrew says, "Hey Rico, whatever, because you
Oh yeah,
lost
they
him
not
up
playing.
video, man."
They not playing. They not playing. And I literally have a window right here on this screen of me writing down all my notes and stuff. It's real on the way, but they just not playing with me, man.
That video's gonna do numbers, man. You should do like a premiere for it. That's the way you should set it up. You should do a premiere.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I
like
should
30
premiere it.
It's gonna get like 30,000 views, 50,000. It's gonna be your most viewed video.
To be fair though, Rico, I'm not gonna lie. Watching the videos, you have been promising us it for a minute now. So they like, hey, they over there itching, Rico. They like, come on.
Like that GTA 6 release, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
That's crazy. Look, I think, hey, Ed, I think they just extended it again now that you said something about
Girl.
that.
Yeah.
If we, man, we ain't gonna get that game, man. That's crazy. Um, but no, back to the Jaylen Lane thing. No, and I kind of look at it like I guess it's a negative look at it, but a lot of times last year, Jay and Daniels kind of overthrew some guys like Terry McLaurin or some other receivers that it happens. It's football, right? You're not gonna be 100% on every single deep ball, but it's gonna be hard to overthrow Jaylen Lane. Some of those passes that he overthrew, Jaylen Lane has the speed to get under him. So it'll be a lot less probable for some overthrows to be happening. So I think he's also going to be a nice gem. Kane Madrano's another one that I think a lot of people are starting to learn about and finding out about in terms of being the next up in terms of like the linebacker room. I think in the future, probably 2 years from now, if everything pans out the way we hope it do, this linebacking core can be really good. Obviously, reing up on Frankie Louvu after his contract expired. Speaking of Frankie Louvu, we know he got the little mini documentary out. That was a good watch. I did not know his family tree was like that, and he was dealing with like that kind of past. I did not know that about him, but that kind of speaks to the passion he plays with, man. You see him leading the pack. And then Jordan McGee, who I still have high hopes for, like they did not compare him to pre-injury Drake Greenlaw for no reason. Like he has something in him that made them feel like he can be another great, linebacker added to this room. And then Cam Madrano as well, with Ken Norton Jr. and obviously being another Bruin like Adam Peters and Ken Norton. This linebacker room, we've came a long way, fellas, from Jamin Davis and Kevin Pierre Lewis and John Bostic, and even taking it back a little bit further. What Mason Foster? I mean,
Yes,
I no,
sir.
yeah, and no shots in my. I used to like Perry Riley, so I ain't gonna take too much shots at him, but Perry Riley too.
Sean
We
Dion Hamilton.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's crazy. Sean Dion Hamilton, I had so much high hopes for him because I always wanted that athletic linebacker. And he was like, they kept
Same.
saying, oh, he was that. He was that. He was that. And it kind of never panned out. So we came a long way, man. But yeah, let's see if we got any questions? If you guys got any questions for Ed, Rico, and myself about the Commanders before we get up out of here, feel free. We pretty much covered a lot of stuff. He says, we gonna be in training camp still waiting for that video. Hey, look, man, it's worth the wait, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, who else gonna break it down like Rico? That jump part gonna be an hour, 30 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? He gonna give you the full depths. He gonna start it out with Javon Kinlaw and growing up in DC, and
Right,
then
right.
right he gonna give you the whole shit. So it's worth the wait, man. Um, I definitely think he's gonna be really good, though. I mean, I know the stats because a lot of people even still have questions about it. As like understandable because the stats don't really back it up. And I can start with you if you want to talk about it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the stats don't back it up, but like the trajectory, the passion he's been here in the interviews, like it seems like another like sneaky move that's kind of like just trust Adam Peters in it. Like he knows this guy, kind of like Deebo Samuel as well. What's your thoughts on Javon Kinlaw? You think he'll have a huge impact on
Yeah.
the D line?
So I had to do my research on him too, and listen to some Niners beat reporters just talk about his situation, and because I remember the Niners they traded DeForest Buckner, and he was the replacement, and then it just didn't work out with the Niners. Kinlaw had a back and forth with a beat reporter with the Niners a couple years ago. They were going back and forth on like Instagram Live or something like that. But what Niners reporters were saying about Kinlaw is just like he couldn't get right with the injuries. There was either a leg injury or something, and then he tried to gain weight, then he lost weight. And I think with the Jets, he kind of got at the right weight. I believe he lost some weight even coming into this because he wanted either he gained weight because he wants to stop the run more, or he lost weight. Either one, but I think this is like the best weight for him whatever he's at right now, and he's finding his real niche in the league, and finding out what really works for him. I just think those Niners years, he just never really got a full season to really get a rhythm in the NFL and find what his best, his strongest thing is in the league. And I think he finally found that with the Jets. Now he hasn't lived up to a first round pick hype, but I think what Dan Quinn is going to get the best out of him at that elephant end position, where they're going to have him at DT and defensive end. I have heard some people say that he may start some games at defensive end. You just never know. So that's why they have Dietrich Wise, where they're just going to throw a couple guys in, where it's not going to be the typical four defensive end on the outside. It could be Kinlaw on the outside some games. So I do think they certainly have a plan for him. They didn't pay him $15 million a year for no reason. He's going to have a big role with this roster for sure. Whether it's pass rushing, slowing down the run game, I think they're going to get the best out of this guy, Javon Kinlaw, man. He's very physical, very aggressive. So I think this is a good spot for him with Dan Quinn. We've seen them revive some careers or get the best out of guys. Like they got the best out of Frankie Louvu last year. He had an all-pro season. Even Dante Fowler, even though he's gone, nobody thought he was going to get double-digit sacks. They got the best out of him. Noah I improved. He was on the last leg of his career. His career was on life support last year, being another former first-round pick with the Dolphins, and he had a solid year last year. So I think Javon Kinlaw is a guy that's going to come in and fit in pretty well with this Joe Witt Jr. defense.
Hey, well said. Rico, you can add on to it as well. Or if not, we can get to some of these questions.
I mean, just real quick. I mean, first of all, Ed said a lot of great points, and just to add to it, man. I mean, this guy went in the first round for a reason. Like the talent is there. It just has to be him staying healthy and being in the right environment. And I think, being on a part of a team that's destined for greatness, that's trying to play for a Super Bowl. You have Jaden Daniels as your quarterback. You have Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu as your linebackers. Like he's going to be challenged. He's going to be held accountable. And I feel like all of that is really healthy towards his career. He may be one of those guys that is a late bloomer. That first round talent comes out later. Because, I mean, if y'all remember Rashawn Gary, I've been keeping track of him since like late middle school because he was like an insane recruit coming out of New Jersey. He was the number 1 overall recruit coming out of high school, and he ended up going to Michigan and everything. And then he never lived up to the hype immediately. And even going into the NFL, it was like a couple of seasons where it was like, okay, he's all right. And then he just suddenly started to ball out. I think Javon Kinlaw can have a similar career trajectory. I'm not saying and guaranteeing that he will, like put your life savings on it, but I mean, we've seen it happen before. And to Ed's point, this environment, this coaching staff, I mean, they've gotten greatness out of guys and gotten the best out of a lot of different guys. Why not Kinlaw?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's why I said like when I love the move because the stats don't back it up, but just knowing like with Adam Peters and making this move and knowing him and then just his passion he plays with and how grateful he seems to be of the contract, and he's coming back to a place where he kind of was, raised that a little bit. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he adds to this defensive lineman. But we did cross the hour mark, so if you guys do have to step up, I understand. But I did want to answer a couple of these questions that we had. Let me go ahead and scroll up here. Where were we at? Let's see. I guess I'll just pick a random one. So we go with KJ. KJ says, "Do you think Deebo will bring the boombox to DC?" I honestly, I'll start with that. I really hope not. Not because there's anything wrong with it or against Debo or anything like that. I feel like I'm not a big fan of like biting other people's swag, like team swag. Like that was their thing, especially not having. Now, if he had Trent Williams, maybe. But like I kind of want like hope we start our own thing. That's just kind of like still in their whole identity. So I kind of hope not. How you feel about that, fellas? Bringing the boombox here in Washington.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. What I will say is that I do like Deebo. Now, I do like some of the things he's done this offseason, like him and Jaden at the Mystics game, getting chemistry there. We've seen the pictures with him and Jaden and Zach Ertz. Then he was at the DC Defenders game yesterday too, supporting one of his teammates. But just the fact that he's been outside and gone to the games and just supported other DC teams too is really cool to see. But the boombox, yeah, now like you said, I mean, they'll probably just leave that in San Fran. We'll probably just have our own thing, like our own pregame ritual or whatever. I don't know if it's going to be Terry still hyping the team up like he was in the playoffs, or whether it's going to be Frankie doing his Ric Flair thing, or or Deebo may put his own spin or something like that. But like you said, I feel like they're going to leave that in San Fran, and they're just going to keep going with Frankie doing his thing, or Terry hyping the team up.
Yeah, Rico, what you think about bringing the boombox here?
Yeah, I agree. I prefer for him to start his own tradition coming over here. But we already have a lot of leaders and things like that. But I do remember hearing like a 49ers reporter say that, like, Trent Williams has always had like an aggressive personality, very confident. But a lot of 49ers reporters say that like Deebo Samuel is the reason that Trent Williams finally started to come out of his shell and kind of show his confidence out loud. So I love the fact that he's going to bring that energy and spirit, and even just his play style. I mean, granted, it adds mileage to his body, but I mean, this guy will hit somebody, run somebody over to gain extra yards. That's going to make the entire team more hyped. That's going to make the defense more hyped to get out there when it's their time to do something. So he's like a spirit raiser, I guess. He has like a certain badge on him that when he makes a good play, the rest of the team gets like an energy boost or something like that. So I think that's going to be really fun. But yeah, I would prefer for him to start a new tradition over here. I feel like that's more 49ers as well.
Okay. Shout out to my guy Fry. He said, "Is there any way we lose week 3?" And this is a good question because going into it, I'm a little now. This is funny. I'm a little bit more confident than I was before the show because after looking at that schedule again, I'm with with you all. Part of me wants to stay grounded, but also part of me wants to like kind of drag a little bit and say like I don't see a real loss until week 8. But it's hard for me to really fathom us starting off 7-0 or 7-0. But like that is a real possibility after looking at the schedule again, especially if you get off to that 4-0 start with having an easy September. But I mean, of course, there is a way we can lose week 3. I mean that Raiders team is definitely improved, and I think they'll be much better coach wise. I mean, I don't think Antonio Pierce was a bad coach at all. I kind of just think he was a sitting duck. Like they really didn't want him. It took him forever to even announce him as the head coach to begin with. So I don't really think they wanted him to be the head coach anyway. That was kind of just like a forced onto the owner because the fans didn't want him to go because he kind of ended the season off well. But I mean, I guess Rico, I'll start with you. I mean, I guess there's a way we can lose week 3, but I mean, do we really see y'all? It's at home too, right? It's at No Flex
Yeah, it's
Field.
in
Yes,
Landover.
Yeah, I don't see it. I
I,
don't.
yeah,
I
no,
think it's I think it's highly unlikely. But I mean, you could just never sleep on any team in the NFL, especially the Raiders. Because remember last year they beat the Ravens 26-23 week 2. That was before
Mm,
Aston Genty. And remember back in 2023, they beat the Chiefs week 16, 20-14. That was without Brock Bowers nor Ashton Genty. So they're just, I don't know. It seems like every year, the past few years, they always find a way to sneak a win that they really had no business winning as far as matchups and the betting lines and things like that. So
mm.
they're the better line breaker, and so you got to take them very seriously because you cannot sleep on a team like that. And if anything, they're more talented now than they were the past couple of years where they just beat the Ravens and the Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the cliche is any given Sunday. They do have a good team. Geno's a solid quarterback. He's been to the playoffs multiple times in his career lately. So, and then Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers. It is a Jeremy Chin. Um, I wouldn't even call it a revenge game, but it's like a Jeremy Chin, I guess, reunion game, if you want to call it that. So that will be interesting. We know he struggles in coverage at times, so I would definitely go at him. Even though I did like some of the things he did last year, I thought he had a solid season. He's a career that we basically revived there too, because he
Mm,
was struggling with that last year before he came here with the Panthers. Like it didn't really go well for him, and he was complaining about his role, but he had a good role here last year. But yeah, no, this is a game that I feel like we should win. Jacoby Myers is their number one receiver. I think other than that, we should definitely take guys away. And even in that matchup, I feel like Lattimore or Trey Amos should definitely do a good job on Jacoby Myers in this game. The biggest thing is clearly slowing down Ashton Genty, and they have Raheem Mostert too. So like they have a solid roster. They have a solid roster, but
mm,
that's a game that we should win. I would say it's going to be closer than the Giants game. I feel like that's like a 5-point win.
mm. Yeah, and that's definitely a good point. That team is definitely improved, especially with Geno Smith, um, and the weapons that they have around them. But I definitely think we should still
Yeah,
get
and
that
then
victory, especially beating
Tunsil
them.
Tunsil versus Max Crosby, like that's why you traded for Laramie Tunsil, and then Josh Connolly. If they do, put him to the other side, that will be a good test for Josh Connolly as well. And I mean, if Josh Connolly does struggle a little bit, we'll chip and do different things like that, like we did with Brandon Coleman to help Brandon Coleman out. And that could be another game. Like we know what we did to the pass rushers last year. Like we did a great job against Trey Hendrickson on Monday Night Football. Myles Garrett had 0 pressures, 0 sacks. Like a lot of the top pass rushers we played against last year, like had 0 pressures and 0 sacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good point. But shout out to my guy Alma Bernie says, thank you for the super chat. He says, do you think Deebo will have a 2021-2022 season? That's interesting. Before we do answer that, I do gotta give my guy Gurman a shout out. Rico, he says, I watch every game with you. Street Sports says, thank you. I'm from South America, so I can't watch all the games, but I watch a reaction. Shout out to my man Rico holding it down for
Yes,
all the guys
sir.
out of all the people out of the country not able to watch the games again. It's always surreal to see how far out, we always hear about how far our fan base stretch, but to actually like see people be like, hey, yeah, we're watching from so and so country. It's kind of like, man, what? It's Skins fans out there. And speaking of that, the Spain game is gonna be interesting because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 90-10 Commanders fans. Like I think there's no real Dolphins fans that's gonna make it to that game. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, first of all, what country exactly in South America? And yeah, I agree. I think we are going to take over that game. That sucks for the Dolphins because every year you play more home games one year, you play more away games the next year. This is supposed to be the year that the AFC plays more home games, but that game's going to be in Spain. That's technically their home game, and that's going to feel like a Commanders home field environment. I can already tell with all of the fans we have in the UK. You already had that UFC fighter wearing the Commanders jersey, and he's from Spain. So even though the Dolphins, Messi, maybe there's that link because he plays soccer right now professionally for the Miami team in America, but I think we're going to take over that stadium, to whatever extent that you can. And I think it'll be more Commanders fans than Dolphins fans. So technically, we're going to have more home games than we have away games this year, especially LA too. In Chargers, Jaden Daniels is home.
Mm-hmm. That is a good point too. And I mean, I don't know, Rico, you can speak better for me, but I think every time we go to the Falcon Stadium, we take it over too. So that can be kind of another extra home game as well. I mean, but with the excitement of Michael Penix, so it probably kind of had Falcons fans coming out. But I feel like we always take over Mercedes-Benz Stadium too. I think it's another.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah, we for sure will. I'll make sure we will.
That is that German watches you from South America, so that's crazy that he can't watch the games too. Like that's crazy. We gotta find
so we gotta hook him up with ppv.land or something.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
VIP box, Stream East.
Some crack street, right. Some links.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's crazy how expensive it is to watch the games now, right? Like they just did a whole like little layout of how much it's gonna cost on average to watch like the games this year, and it's like 1,100 to watch all the games, and it's like, man, I miss the old days where you could just turn on the what's it called, like the LAN cable, the cable LAN cable, and just have channel 5 and 4. But now you gotta buy Netflix and Amazon Prime just to watch the team. It's like, man, it's insane.
Yeah, I got YouTube TV. I got the Sunday ticket. I had to get the Sunday ticket because I live, in Baltimore, so they don't like to show Commanders games in Baltimore, even though it's literally like 5 miles. We're literally right next to each other, Baltimore and PG County, DC, whatever. But I mean that is crazy. Like South America, like that's insane. Like they should definitely show games, but it is, especially these games. Like like German's gonna be staying up with Rico and you guys. Watching these streams off the late night, like all these games going to be late, 8 o'clock, Thursday night, Sunday night. So, that's the type of time we're on right now.
Yeah. Better get used to it, man.
Yes, sir. I love it, man. I love it.
We have a successful team. And shouts out to Bolivia, too. He said he's in Bolivia, too. Shouts out, man. That's good. That's fine. I got to get out there for sure. I haven't been to South America yet.
Definitely. And we can answer this question and we can slide to the side. So I asked this question. Armin says, do you think Debo will have a 2021-2022 season? If he does, he gonna get that contract extension. They put out the Deebo Samuel jerseys. I seen it. Someone sent me a picture of it. It's fire, but I'm not buying it until he signs a contract extension. So I wish what's y'all thoughts on that? Do you think Debo could go to have a 2021-2022 season? Ed, I'll start with you.
So the 2020, and shout out to Armand. You know, I know Armand likes to mess with me and throw a little bit here and there. You know, so I'm 110% awake. You know, so I get that out of the way with
Yes,
Armand.
sir.
But that 2021 season is gonna be hard to duplicate. What do you have, like 1,500 receiving yards or something like that? Something insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
So that was a heck of a season by Deebo. He had 1,400 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, and it's not even just the receiving yards; it's the rushing yards too that he had that season. I'm looking it up right now. He had 365 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns, which is crazy. He had a total of 14. Yeah, eight rushing touchdowns is crazy for a wide receiver. So he had 14 total touchdowns. So I don't know if it's going to be 2021. I don't know if we really need him to have I mean, we would love to have him for him to have 1,400 receiving yards. We would love that. But I don't know if with this offense, if that's going to happen. I see Terry getting his typical 11, 1,200 receiving yards. And I see Deebo getting like 700 receiving yards, 800. Noah Brown will fall in where he falls in. And then Jaylen Lane might give you like 400 to 500 receiving yards. But I don't see 2021. I can see 900 to 1,000, but I don't see him getting like 1,400 receiving yards. Even though it could happen, man. It could though, because I think Jaden's going to take another leap. Like everybody's talking about a slump, but I think he's going to take a step forward. And Zach Ertz is going to get his yardage as well. So, but I think it's going to be spread around a lot. But I don't see 1,400. I see about 800, 900 yards for Deebo.
Okay. Rico, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think like overall base stats wise, it's just to Ed's point, we're going to spread the ball around way too much. Your quarterback is going to run for a lot of yards. We're going to have running back by committee. Zach Ertz is the safety blanket. You have Terry McLaurin over there. You just can't forget about him. Noah Brown, when healthy. At the very least, he's going to lead the NFL in pass interferences for us. He's going to get a lot of targets. A lot of people are excited about Michael Gallup. I'm excited about Jaylen Lane. It's just too many mouths to feed, so I don't see him having the overall stats. But I could see him being as efficient as that year. If we're taking a look at like maybe some per snaps, per reception things, I think he could be just as successful. But I just don't think overall 1,400 yards and this many touchdowns, I don't think he's going to achieve that. Maybe you don't want to draft him early in your fantasy league, but I think he's going to contribute to some really good winning.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely don't even think that's why I was saying, kind of piggybacking off of what Ed said and you as well, Rico. Like, I'm not telling you I'm turning it down. Like if he has an insane 1,400, 1,500 yard like kind of season combined rushing and through the air, I would love that. But I don't even think he needs to do all of that, to be honest with you, because of the other weapons we have around him, and a potential better run game as well. And going back to the deep threats thing earlier, how we said it was only Jaylen Lane and Terry. Michael Gallup too. He's probably not who you think of when it comes to deep threat, but looking at his film from when he was in Dallas and healthy, a lot of his damage was done through the seams and down the field as well. Whether it was just beating the cornerback with his speed or climbing the ladder. So he's another deep threat that we have as well. And I know people don't think he's gonna make the roster, which I don't understand how. I'm a big Michael Gallup fan. I think that's another former 1,000 yard receiver that can, if he doesn't have 1,000 yards here, he can have close to like maybe 500, 600, and that's even good too. So many different weapons that's added to this team. So I don't think Debo is going to have a 2021, 2022 kind of season, but we don't even need him to have that kind of impact, to be honest. And then the last question before we get up out of here, my guy always get his.
What I will say,
Okay.
my bad to cut you off.
No, you good. You good.
Is, I already predicted which receivers I got making the roster. I don't have Gallup making the roster. The only reason why I don't have making the roster is because I think we only keep 6 guys. Because
Who's those 6?
genuinely, my 6. So I only because we usually keep 7. Even
Yeah.
it's kind of like who cares with the previous regime, but the previous regime did keep 7. Dan Quinn kept 7 last year. But I think we only keep 6 this year because of the whole punt returner thing. I think a lot of the reasons why we kept 7 is because we had to keep a punt returner. But this year, since the punt returner is going to be involved in the actual offense, and it's not like we're just keeping a guy to be a punt returner. And Jamison Crowder, like we signed him like in the middle of the season to become a punt returner. But I think so. Obviously, Terry Deebo's your number 2 option. Noah Brown's going to make the roster clearly. Jaylen Lane's number 4. Luke is 5, and then 6 is it's really between KJ and Gallup. It's between KJ and Gallup.
That's a toss up for you. Come on.
It is. So the only reason why I have KJ, the only reason why I even give KJ a chance is because he was already in the system last year. So he knows the playbook, he knows the terminology. And KJ's not trash either. Like KJ, he's been kind of, I'm not gonna call him trash. He has more penalties than actual receiving yards, receptions, and everything. But I just gotta. It's just tough because Michael Gallup didn't play last year. He retired.
I understand.
And I feel like he tried to come back and then he hung it up again. It just didn't work out with the Raiders or whatever. What happened? So I just kind of have a feeling like it's not as he didn't take a break as long as Martavis Bryant, but he's another former Cowboy that was there with Dan Quinn, and now they're giving him a chance. And it's been some time since he's played. So I kind of give them. Oh no! My 6th is Ja'Cory Brooks, so it's not even Osborne. My 6th is Ja'Cory Brooks.
Okay,
that's my 6, and I think they just leave it at that.
Okay, you add him. That's not bad. Go ahead, Rico.
A couple of weeks ago, I did like a depth chart, like a projection. Like soon after, like a couple of days after the draft, I literally forgot about Michael Gallup. It wasn't even like I predicted him to not make. I just forgot he existed, and people were so mad at me in the comment section. But I'm with Ed. I mean, if he does make it, he barely scoots in as the 6th guy, but I don't think he's a lock at all.
Man, y'all got me questioning my height. Like I'm high on him.
No, please.
I say he's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, him and Noah Brown, I am like super high on than most, and I get slack for it all the time, especially with Noah Brown, because I don't know, man. I feel like my guy get disrespected, and it has nothing to do with the Hail Murray at all. Like you could take that off the table. I think he's just when healthy, a true reliable like receiver for low 4, or should I say high 4, low 3, especially like last year, like especially when it was at times where Cliff was kind of early season on, not using no motion for real, making Terry stay on the left side. Jaden Daniels wasn't really comfortable throwing far left yet. So who was he primarily throwing the ball to? Noah Brown. And Noah Brown was coming up clutch. Especially I go back to that early Giants game week 2. Like I'm super high on Noah Brown, and I'm glad he's healthy and back because I think he's gonna have another phenomenal season as well. Sebastian said that you pulling up to the home open. At this point, someone just texted in the group chat that we're in. Shout out to the Burgundy Breakdown with Freedy and Z and John from Ball and Burgundy podcast. He was like, yeah, man, I want to go to the games, but that's when I forgot about being good. The ticket prices are now different. Like last year, went to the Giants week 2 game, and it was pretty cheap. Now I haven't looked at the prices yet, but I'm sure, man, them jumps probably skyrocketed now. So I don't know. We gonna see.
Them tickets about to be crazy. Tickets,
yeah. No, I looked at the Lions game. I'm pulling up the Commanders versus Giants game. The cheapest ticket is $133 right now, like to sit up high or whatever. But like I see a couple of tickets right now. I mean, it's like $244 to sit down low, so it's like in the 200s. Where like last year, like y'all were saying, like it would be like $100 to sit down low, but now you're in the 200s. Just down low.
And that's for the Giants week 1 game, right?
Right, and then that's without the fees, so you're gonna add on the fees and stuff like that.
Imagine that Lions game, that Cowboy Eagles game, man, that Sunday night game, Broncos, like, man, golly, that's the only bad thing about being good.
Right.
But yeah, we'll answer this last question, then we'll get up out of here. My guy, remember Lee, always say his name wrong, man. I don't know why I can never remember it, but hopefully I did. Oh, Rudy. We'll go Rudy, and then we'll go my guy, remember Lee says, "Hey Juan, I'm from I don't even know how to pronounce that. I apologize.
I think he means Colorado. I think it's in the
Okay,
typo.
Colorado. Okay, yeah. All right, good. Okay, cool. I thought that was like some foreign little country. I was like, I do not want to mess that up, man. I do not want to mess that up. But Colorado, okay. So they want it from Colorado. What's a him? I mean, it's with Noah Brown Court. Hail Murray. I don't know. I'm sorry I say it that way, but like,
Are
yeah,
you talking about your accent?
I don't hear it though.
No,
That's
you
funny.
definitely have one of the strongest DMV accents, especially like out of the
That's
Commanders, Kings,
funny.
and everybody. You have the strongest accent for sure. DMV wise, for sure.
That's funny, but yeah,
Yeah, you
what
say
what
Merlin and all that. You talk like my mom.
yeah, that's funny. It's funny because you never hear it unless like you're not talking to somebody that's like from the same area. Like you hear
There
it.
you go. You say
Yeah.
area instead of area. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. But nah, yeah. Shout out to my guy Rudy, and I want to get to this question because it definitely is a good one to end off of. Says, "What up, fellas? He says, is this the most excited you guys have been for a preseason and regular season? And what top three players are you most excited for? Rico, I'll start with you. How excited are you? Is it the most excited you have been?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because last year was more so just blind optimism. Like we got Jaden
Mm-hmm.
Daniels. We'll see how this goes. You know what I'm saying? We got a new head coach, new owner,
Mm-hmm.
new general manager. It was more so blind optimism. Now,
Yeah.
granted, these expectations are going to add a little stress to it. Like, I mean, you go to the NFC Championship your first year, you kind of feel like it's NFC Championship or really Super Bowl or bust at this point. So there's a little bit of stress to it, but it's far more excitement because far more confidence as well. So for sure, man. I mean, and even just specifically preseason wise, again, I think Ja'Cory and Jaylen Lane are going to eat up against some of those backups. I think they're going to get out there because typically like a fourth round pick on a bad team, they're probably automatically projected to be a starter. And so they probably may not even be out there with the backups. Where us, I mean, Jaylen Lane is probably like fourth, fifth on our wide receiver depth chart right now. I think he's going to grow past that later on in the season at some point. But he's going to be out there when we're throwing out the backups. Like he won't even be. Maybe he'll spend some time out there with Jaden Daniels, maybe. But he's more likely going to be out there with Marcus Mariota and Josh Johnson and Sam Hartman and guys like that. And I think those two are going to show out, like Ed said, have a Jared Patterson type of preseason. And then the three players that I'm most excited for, of course, Jaden Daniels. That's an easy one. I guess I'll pick I'm gonna go Javon Kinlaw because I think he's gonna prove a lot of people wrong. And then my mystery guy will probably be Jordan McGee. I'm really excited about a lot of players. I mean, I can't wait to see Trey Amos out there. I mean, we could talk forever about all of the players we're excited about, but I'll probably do Jaden Daniels is the obvious. My middle will be Javon Kinlaw to prove everybody wrong guy. And then my third will be Jordan McGee because I feel like a lot of fans forgot about him. And in this organization, this front office, this coaching staff is very high on him. He flashed a lot last year. He just kept getting hurt.
That's a
And we
good
need a
point.
guy too. Because after Bobby
Yeah.
Wagner and Frankie Louvu, we need a linebacker to step up. I like Cam Madrano's talent, but Jordan McGee, we're gonna need you this year, my boy.
Yeah, we can't survive another down with Michael Walker. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Man, it was bad, man. It was bad watching him play last year. But Ed, what about you?
The three guys I'm most excited for, Jaylen Lane, just the speed, like we talked about, punt returning, possibly kick returning, jet sweeps. Like there's so many things that you can do with this guy. His speed, the athleticism, taking the top off the defense. And then I would say, yeah, Bill, JCM, if he gets some touches, just bringing that change of pace, man, the patience, the vision, the athleticism, explosiveness. He's a guy that can hit a home run. He's got fresh legs, too. Only played in 2 games. I mean, if you want to count the East-West Shrine Bowl, I guess that's 2. And he was the MVP in that game. Like, he had played a whole season, and then in the All-Star game, he gets the MVP. Like, that's how good of a player that JCM is, man. And then, yeah, like you say, Rico, there's so many guys. It's hard to only choose 3 guys. So I'll just go with Trey Amos, man, because like I said, you don't want to put too much on rookie minicamp, but there's people saying that he looked the part already, and you got some matchups against George Pickens and AJ Brown. Like we drafted a guy that can physically, compete with AJ Brown. I'm not gonna say he's gonna match up band for band with AJ Brown, but he can, compete with AJ Brown. Where unfortunately, a guy that we drafted 2 years ago, he just wasn't even the same weight class with AJ Brown. You saw that every time we played against him. So, Trey Amos for me. And then there's some other comments that are pretty funny, like Armand Brown is laughing at McMillan. He said, William McMillan said KJ Osborne sucks. So, because I wanted to correct I had to correct my 6 receivers because I did throw KJ Osborne in there only because I forgot about Ja'Cory Brooks. So that's the only reason why I said KJ. I don't think KJ sucks. And then I do want to respond to Don 101 as well. I don't know who that is in his profile. I don't know if that's Tory Lanez or whoever that is in that profile picture. But he says, if Luke turns out like the receiver version of Emmanuel Forbes, which I don't think will happen, he says, cut him halfway through the season. They're not going to cut Luke McCaffrey throughout the halfway of the season. Like, that's not going to happen. But like I said earlier, I do feel like Jaylen Lane is going to end up passing Luke McCaffrey on snaps and on targets. So that's like one of my predictions. It's not a bold prediction or a crazy prediction, but it's something that I do see happening this season.
That's a good. I like what Corey Brooks from I forgot what school was it again. I just literally did
Louisville and Alabama.
Louisville, yep, in Alabama, right? The biggest thing that jumped off the page when I watched him was his ability to track the deep ball. Especially when it came to like watching his film and his highlights. Like it was this one play where he was battling with the receiver the whole way. The ref already threw the pass interference flag, and he still found a way to make the reception. But when's the last time? I know Tyler Owens made it last year as a safety, but like the last time a receiver made it here, like I go back to Robert Davis. Like I really thought he was gonna be something special, man. Like he didn't end up being anything in preseason. Like just a couple seasons ago, Mitchell Tinsley. Like I thought he was gonna be really good. I felt I want to say Bryson Tremaine, not really like high hopes for him, but like more of the story I'm saying, like the undrafted receiver, like we always fall in love with this guy in terms of like the training camp. Like who was the guy last year? The
Marcus
one-handed
Wilson,
guy.
Jack Tate.
Yeah, like we
Jackson
always find
Dog,
that.
man.
Yeah, that one
I
off-season
like that too,
receiver. Yeah, like we always kind of like these guys, but it never happened. I'm not saying the same thing for Brooks. He could probably be different, but Michael Gallup, I feel like it's kind of a lock for me. But we'll see. We'll definitely see on that.
Yeah, I doubt it, but no, like I said, I like how you stated on it though. Like I want to see, man. I do want to see that.
I thought that was Soldier Boy.
I ain't gonna lie. I would have never, out of all the people, I would have never guessed G Herbo Edge. I think you had the best guess. I'm sorry. I would have. G Herbo would have never came to my mind.
Oh, that's G Herbo. Okay.
Yeah, that.
I thought that was Soldier Boy, man.
I can't see it. And correct me if I'm wrong, right quick. Who's number 90 right now?
Is it man. Javonte John?
Maybe Javonte?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Javonte Jean Baptiste. I believe so.
I'll look it up real quick before we wrap it up.
Yeah. Because he said don't sleep. It probably is him because a lot of us, or a lot of the Commanders fans have always brought him up and said he can have a really good year too. So
that was against the Bengals too, where he had that one sack. It was one of them early games. He had like a really impressive sack, and he flashed at times last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Javonte.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely keep it, and then especially with this edge rushing room looking the way it is, we gotta hope for somebody like him to step up out of all the guys. He's the youngest one, so it'd definitely be cool if he step up for sure.
Okay, Jose, we'll see, man. Hey, like I said, we'll see, man. I really hope you guys are right, man. If they keep 6. Because everybody thought Martavis Bryant was going to make it after that preseason game. So that's what I'm saying.
I definitely did. I'm not going to lie. When he caught that touchdown, I definitely thought he was going to make it. Nope.
Yeah. I had him on my 50 when I made my prediction 53-man roster right after that game. I had him on there. But like I said, I personally, I don't see it with Gallup making a roster. That's just me. No way, Jose. But we'll see. No, I hope you guys are right. I would love for Gallup to come in and give us like at least – I think 300 receiving yards from Gallup would be optimistic. I think that would be probably the most you would get out of him, really.
Yeah.
If he makes a roster.
All right. Sounds good. We'll definitely keep an eye out for that, man. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. And of course, thank you to Ed Oliver and Street Scores for stopping by. Before we go though, Ed and Rico, Rico, I already know your answer. We talked about it. But Ed, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Anthony Edwards. Who getting their first ring?
So the Wolves are playing the Thunder, right? Yeah, this is probably the most unpredictable Final Four in the NBA I've ever seen because everybody's evenly matched.
Hey Rico, they hating on you, man. We can't even see it. There you go. The green screen was
Oh,
hating a
okay.
little bit. Okay. But out the Georgia cover, we know who we rocking with. Hey, what about you?
But no, once again, Jose with Michael Gallup. Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, I hope you're right, Jose, with Michael Gallup. But I'll leave Michael Gallup alone for now. I'll probably make another receiver video later on.
Jose ain't letting you live. And he like, yeah, you we ain't getting off till you say he gonna make it.
Right. Let me go ahead and get this Gallup jersey, man, real quick. Dang.
Yeah, it's
So
a good
Thunder
one.
versus Nuggets. No. Thunder versus the Wolves. Yeah, I'll go with the Wolves coming out the West. I think the Thunder are just a little immature. I think I think that maturity wise, they're not there yet. And then the East versus the Pacers. The Knicks are going to be the Pacers. So I got the Knicks versus the Timberwolves, and then I hate that I'm taking so long because it's just so unpredictable.
No, you good. You good.
Yeah,
Take your time.
It's hard to go against Ant right now at this point, but his supporting cast they got to do a little bit better. Like DiVincenzo needs to play better. McDaniels is a dog. He's been balling. Gobert's actually been pretty decent in this playoffs. And I don't want to see New York win a championship. I really don't, man. Like
Why?
I don't hate them like Philly fans, but no, they were being like Philly fans. Like they was throwing stuff at
the Pacers guy. Yeah, I saw that.
And Brian Windhorst, they was throwing trash at him. And then there's a video when Tatum got hurt, like they was hugging each other and going crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the Wolves for now. I think kind of like how Jaden Daniels is being pushed to be the face of the league. I think Anthony Edwards is there. I think the NBA is trying to make that push for him to be the face of the league right now.
Yeah, I would love that.
Durant, we got Jaden McDaniels.
Right.
You heard what Anthony Edwards told you. Say, man, y'all better stand down, man, to the president though. Hey, look, you can't, man. Hey, look, that's all I'm gonna say. But nah, I definitely that's a good point too about the Thunder. I always had they had maturity issues, but now the big point too is they just went 7 while the Wolves was resting, so that they kind of got that advantage on them too. But I mean, look, and after you said that about the Knicks fans, it's kind of making me sour on them. But I said I was gonna rock with the Knicks because Jalen Brunson, man, that dude's a monster. He's nice. They brought up the Wizards too, Ed. Man, they said the Wizards got a nice young core. I got to get your thoughts quickly on that. We were talking about that too before you joined, man. The 6th pick, man. Come on, what's up?
Man, that was the worst case scenario. Like the worst pick we could get was guess what? The 6th pick. And we won 18 games just to get the 6th pick. It's so rigged, man. Like Dallas, of course, Dallas was the first pick after trading Luka Doncic. Like that's the most rigged, scripted, behind the scenes handshake type of deal. You're gonna trade away Luka and then get the first pick of the draft. Like it's just dumb, man. Like you can never get better. Like there's no way the Wizards can get better if they're gonna get the 6th. They can get better. But like it's a slap in the face, man, for them to drop to where they were to the 6th, and then a team that made the play-in gets the first pick. Like teams that made the play-in they shouldn't be allowed to jump up to the first pick of the draft. Like it's just doesn't make any sense, and it makes the NBA unwatchable. It makes it unwatchable, and it's rigged. And that was worst case scenario. Like even the top I would have been happy with a top 3 pick or even a 2nd pick, like Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey. But the 6th pick was probably the worst pick that you could get. Like we never get any luck We always get the 9th pick, or we always move backwards when we should really be in the top 5 pick. So it's just another disappointing night for DC Sports and the Wizards, man. They're just going to be stuck where they are. They're going to be bad again next year too, because they got their pick is protected. So it's top 8 protected by the Knicks. So they gotta be the 8th worst team. So they're gonna be bad again. So we're not gonna be relevant for a long time, man. It's just they needed Cooper Flag. They needed Dylan Harper. They needed a top 3 pick bad. And when you lose like that, like you got to get a top 3 pick. And of course, the NBA they rigged it for us to get the 6th pick.
Yeah, man, that's horrible, man. They need to get rid of that. They need to get rid of that because I feel like it should be like the NFL. Just go to the
Right.
worst team, and
Imagine if we
damn.
were in the lottery, the Commanders, and instead of getting Jaden Daniels, we dropped to the 6th pick and would have had to draft JJ McCarthy. Like, just think of it.
Definitely. That
even
sucks.
Even as somebody that's not a Wizards fan at all, man, that was rigged. That was super rigged. That was hate, man. That's plain. I mean, the fact that we can't even audit this process, like we can't go behind the scenes and prove anything. They could just be like, that's how the ball fell. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it went. Like, there's no way to like do a background check on this, so they could do whatever and pull whatever maneuvers they want to.
That's insane. Now get ready for the Wizards to draft another overseas guy that they'll end up trading 2 years later, man. But like I told Rico, what everybody else been saying, the Caps lost, the Nets hasn't been consistently good, and obviously the Wizards gonna be trash. But at least we got Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. That's not a new thing. That was never the thing before. But now they say at least we got the Commanders. So hey, man. But that being said, though, I appreciate y'all for stopping by and chilling with me tonight. We're going to go ahead and slide to the side. Shout out to my guy, Ed Oliver, Rico from Street Scores. Any last words you got for the wonderful crowd that we have tonight, fellas?
I mean, let go, Ant. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get that first ring out the way so we can go get a few more, man. That's it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, what about you? Any final words?
Shout out to the DC Defenders. I will be there at the game Friday, May 30th. It's an 8 p.m. game. It's a night game on Friday Night Lights. They just clinched the playoff berth, so that's going to be my first Defenders game in person. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the stadium was rocking. They said we got the best home crowd out of the whole league. DeAndre Baker, former first-round pick of the Giants, caught that pick, man. So
yeah, shout out to him and Dunbar. They got in that fight, but shout out to the Beer Snake too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, all right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. And as always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, we can do this again very, very soon, fellas. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out. Hey. Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G.